Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, a wanted man is caught and police are on the hunt for 4 others. Find out how you can help.
The nation's leader speaks out on the issue of crime. This after a spur of murders here in the country. I'm Clint Watson. The story's ahead.
And the DNA leader criticizes both the government and official opposition. The Bahamas Tonight starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Every Day.
Police on the hunt for several men wanted in connection with the island's latest spate of murders. Good Thursday evening, Bahamas. It's great to see you. I'm Altaviz Munnings.
And I'm Andrew Knowles. Thanks for joining us. Police officials say a zero tolerance to crime is the order of the day, and those who harbor criminals will feel the full brunt of the law.
Well, during a press conference today, authorities said members of a special unit called Operation Flying Squad are now working with the drug enforcement and firearms units to bring resolve to these criminal matters.
Our Genea Noel-Ferguson tells us tonight that police have also raised concern about the criminal activity in an inner-city community.
Marvin Hamilton of Jacaranda Street and Ton Hamilton, known as Tones of Summer Street, Jermaine Scott of Dominica Street, and Shervin Munnings are all wanted by police for recent murders. While police would not reveal which murders, they are carrying out operations in hotspots to find these men. Police Press Officer Superintendent Stephen Dean said they have made major inroads in their investigation on Wednesday night.
That results in the arrest of 25 persons for a number of serious offenses, which include murder, robbery, stealing, causing harm. We was able to arrest a wanted person. A person was wanted for escaping lawful custody over the weekend, and particularly Friday night, Tamiko Williams. So we want to commend the members of the public for assisting us with this arrest. This is going to be take a dent, because these are prolific offenders that we arrested last night, and we know that we will be charging for a number of outstanding matters.
Meanwhile, officer in charge of homicide, Superintendent Paul Roll, who would not reveal the country's present murder count, said the spate of murders in the capital is a cause for concern, but they are making progress as those investigations are carried out.
The murder on Key West Street and also the murder on Dunmore Street in New Providence. We have been able to close those over the last couple of days. We brought in another one of our wanted persons for a homicide that took place on Moore Avenue also a couple of weeks ago, and we will be trying to bring that to some conclusion.
A number of recent murders have taken place here in the Anglerston community, and Superintendent of Police Paul Rose says they have already identified a group of men attempting to form gangs. He says police won't allow that to happen.
There are at least two identified groups that we are going to be targeting, and we're going to continue to target them, and I want them to understand that we're going to continue, because we're not going to allow them to wreak the kind of havoc and to achieve that which they're trying to do in that community and any other community. We're going to continue to pursue them, and we're going to continue to flush them out.
If you have any idea where Jermaine, Anton, Marvin, or Shervin are, you are asked to contact police as soon as possible. Police reminded the public that where persons are found harboring criminals, they will be arrested and charged. Genea Noel-Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
As the Christie administration approaches its second anniversary and almost midway of its term in office, the government is still finding itself wrestling with an issue they vowed to address. Today, Prime Minister Perry Christie told reporters that his government refuses to give up and will intensify efforts to win what has become a war against crime. Clint Watson has the story.
Prime Minister Perry Christie admits that the vexing frustration he faces with this mounting crime dilemma is the fact that the majority of the issues are happening in his constituency and that of the National Security Minister. And despite identifying the hotspots months ago and vowing to implement saturation patrols in these areas, the senseless killings and serious crimes continue to occur.
We are committed to providing the resources. We believe that there is a strategy that will work. And we have to be satisfied that there's the clear intention on the part of those who carry out the strategy to ensure that it is effectively done.
And having made that bold statement, Mr. Christie says they've met with the upper ranks of the police force to ensure officers carry out their jobs without any other influences or opposing forces. But he charges that the execution of these duties must be swift, as lives are at stake.
Young men are becoming victim of their own circumstances of living, how they live, how they deal with each other. And I have said to the police that I don't need to tell you that you are in a war, and that however difficult it appears, we cannot lose the war.
Noting that this war is a hostile one, he concedes that it must be met with intelligence and the understanding that people not only need alternative options, but jobs. Quite frankly, the Prime Minister says the government must be much more proactive in putting its finger on the pulse and measuring the temperature as to what other possible solutions can be applied.
If you kill someone over a plate of food, or you're driving with a friend and you get vexed in an argument and shoot your friend, it is so... the unpredictability of such events are so extraordinary and enormous in their implications as to how you police that kind of behavior that you have to resort to talking to people, explaining to people what the position is.
And despite a vexing problem in crime, Prime Minister Christie remains adamant that his government will continue to seek out strategies and implement them until we see a noticeable reduction. Clint Watson, ZNS Network News.
Police entered the home of Free National Movement chairman Darren Cash today with a search warrant, seizing 2 laptops and a cell phone. In a press statement, Cash's attorney, Carl Bethel, said the items were seized for an investigation into matters related to the Bank of the Bahamas. Now, we're told that the police grabbed the items from Cash's hands and allegedly refused to deliver or leave a copy of the search warrant with him. According to the statement, Mr. Cash calls the action unreasonable, unconstitutional, and unlawful, saying the items contain personal, business, and general political information, emails, and communications which relate to his profession as an accountant and generally to his political activities. Mr. Cash has instructed his attorneys to seek redress by a constitutional motion in the Supreme Court for what he calls the violation of his constitutional right to privacy.
Democratic National Alliance leader Branville McCartney giving his take on the government's performance thus far. During a press conference Wednesday, McCartney claimed that the PLP administration has failed in delivering on just about every election promise, including getting a grip on crime.
We can do things just like other countries have done to tie the hands of the Privy Council. And if the Privy Council don't want to do it, we get rid of the criminal side of the Privy Council and make our Court of Appeal our last court of final justice. But see, these guys realize that there are no consequences. They go in jail, and several months later they ask for bail, and they are out. You have, at the end of the day, persons out walking around amongst us, out on bail for murder. 1, 2, 3 different murders. What kind of society is that? What kind of society is that? What kind of government is that? The government has failed in its fundamental responsibility in protecting its citizens against the criminal element. And if they cannot carry out their fundamental responsibility as a government, they must go.
McCartney also took issue with the Free National Movement, saying the FNM has failed to make the government of the day accountable.
The official opposition seems to be in disarray, divided, speak in 5 different tongues, And they seem to be misstepping just as bad as the PLP. The only opposition you have, my dear, is the DNA. And we have started our campaign for the next election. And we started that in January of this year. We have a number of new persons coming up and wanting to be candidates. We are in the areas with our constituencies. We are formulating and enhancing our plan for the country. And we are gearing up to become the next government of this Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Progressive Liberal Party Chairman Bradley Roberts is firing back at the DNA leader. Mr. Roberts says instead of trying to spin the record with an assessment of the government's performance in office, the DNA should seek advice from the PLP, which he says is the oldest political party in the country and most successful political organization in the region. Chairman Roberts further noted that the DNA should spend all of its available time on a framework or formula which will make its organization more palatable to the Bahamian people, rather than trying to demonize the PLP, the government, or for that matter, political organizations in the country. The PLP chairman said no political party in the history of the Bahamas has acquired the unique record of failure of the DNA, having fielded candidates for 80% of the seats in the general election and not securing any. Chairman Roberts said then if the DNA can get what he calls its bloated political ego to transfer into a seat in the House of Assembly, then the DNA party can be taken seriously. While also firing back was Free National Movement Chairman Darren Cash. He said clearly Mr. McCartney has not realized that the role of an opposition party is to become the government. Chairman Cash said the FNM understands McCartney's fixation with the FNM, saying they thought the DNA leader would have been able to move beyond his hurt feelings by now. Mr. Cash then called McCartney a political neophyte, which was plucked from obscurity by Hubert Ingram and made a big man in the FNM. However, Mr. Cash said Mr. McCartney could not get along with senior politicians because he always felt he had to be large and in charge. The Free National Movement's chairman claims Mr. McCartney left the party in a huff and puff because the former prime minister refused to let him run his government. According to Mr. Cash, the FN hopes the DNA supporters will see that Mr. McCartney continues to be driven by pure ambition, spite, and resentment of Mr. Ingram and the FNM because he could not have his own way. Well, still coming up in the Bahamas tonight, could jobs be opening in Haiti for Bahamians? The foreign minister has that answer.
And here are the latest on the teachers' union's court battle seeking access to school campuses. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight.
This segment of the news is brought to you by Shell Quality Fuels.